Hey everyone, this is Ryan from Aethix Fitness, and you're listening to the Aethix Approach podcast, the podcast where we highlight inspirational up-and-coming vegan and plant-based athletes that you've probably never heard of yet, and what they do to absolutely kill it on a plant-based diet. If you haven't already, it would really help out if you subscribed to, liked, commented, and or shared any of the content I'm producing, including this podcast, free articles and training programs on aethixfitness.com, videos on the Aethix Fitness YouTube channel, and more. I truly appreciate all of you guys for the love and support. In today's episode, vegan bodybuilder Lance James and I chat about what drew him to competitive bodybuilding, how his training, programming, and philosophies have developed over the years, body dysmorphia in bodybuilding, and how his plant-based diet has affected his results in the gym. We also discuss our reasons for being vegan and our personal forms of activism, as well as issues we have with the online vegan community and how veganism is sometimes portrayed negatively on social media. As someone who's been vegan for over a decade, Lance has a lot of great input on the subject, and I found myself personally resonating with just about everything he had to say about both veganism and lifting during our conversation. I hope you enjoy the episode as much as I enjoyed our chat. What's up, guys? This is Ryan with Aethix Fitness, back finally from a long hiatus there. I'm not doing podcasts, but I'm back with Lance James, and Lance is a vegan bodybuilder. He's been doing it for a while. And Lance, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'll let you do a quick little intro for yourself, if you don't mind.
For sure. First off, appreciate you having me. This is great. This is my first time doing a podcast. So,
oh, hell yeah.
This will be interesting and fun. Like Ryan said, my name's Lance James. I am vegan. I am into bodybuilding. Outside of that little spectrum, I'm also a middle school teacher. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I just like to lay back and have fun. You know, I'm just an easygoing, carefree kind of guy who just happens to want to lift weights and listen to heavy metal and eat plants, you know?
Yeah. What got you into, I guess, first of all, let's touch on like bodybuilding. What kind of led you into bodybuilding? Did you play any sports in high school? Did that lead you into fitness or?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always played sports growing up. I was really into baseball and basketball. Nothing against team sports. They're great. It's just not for me. I realized that a little bit later on that I kind of just enjoy it being all the focus on me. I'm the one that has to put the work in and I'm the one that gets the credit for it kind of thing. Maybe that's selfish, whatever, but that's how I was. And really the reason I got into bodybuilding in the first place and really fitness in the first place was because growing up, I was incredibly tiny. I think when I graduated high school, I was somewhere between 130 and 140 pounds. I'm 6'1", so you can imagine it's pretty lanky. Got quite a bit of shit for that. I got made fun of, quite a bit of bullying and stuff for it. So I think when I got a little bit older, I was like, you know what? Fuck those guys. I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to kind of prove them wrong. And that's what really kind of kickstarted everything. That's when I started eating differently, working out differently, and all that. And really up until just a few years ago, I would say I've been working out consistently for probably, I'd say 9 years. But I really had no fucking clue what I was doing until about 3 years ago, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely noticed that you still are putting on a lot of size, I feel like, even from like a year ago, because I've been following you on Instagram for probably a couple years at least.
Yeah, we've been buddies on that for a while, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I've been seeing your progress and you're still making progress, man. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've recently kind of switched up my training style a little bit. It's working. I'll take it. You know how it is though. You're the one that sees your progress. You're watching yourself day in, day out, and you don't see it as much, but then like you look back at a picture from a year ago or 2 years ago and you're like, holy shit, what just happened? You know? So yeah, I mean, even just, I think I posted something the other day about when I competed 2 years ago, I was 177 pounds on stage. I was lean, I was super ripped, but now I'm about 193 in the same condition. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you're close to, I might be wrong, but are you close to a competition right now?
Yeah, I'm just under 7 weeks out right now. So
Oh,
we are right here in the nitty gritty of it. It's about to get real, where it's cardio and the diet really has to get tightened up another level and all that. But
yeah. Um, yeah, I've noticed you've been getting pretty lean. So I thought you said a couple things about competition, but I wasn't 100% sure. So are you feeling like any diet fatigue yet or anything?
no, and honestly, the best part about this one, I didn't let myself get fucking fat before during the off season. I really started this. I don't let myself probably get above 12 or 13% body fat in the off season, just because one, I don't like the way I look that way.
Yeah.
Two, I feel lethargic, and three, I feel like it hinders my performance more than anything. I know a lot of people are really big advocates for the dirty bulk and all that shit, but I feel like when you don't keep it in check, one, your body's going to start to look like shit.
Mhm.
And two, when you actually go to cut again, it's going to be way more difficult. Like I've only went down 4 or 5 pounds since I started my cut. And that's crazy because a lot of people you'll see are dropping, by the time they get to the stage, they drop 20, 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm totally with you where if I get above a certain amount of body fat percentage, I just feel like sluggish and lethargic. And I also like my body dysmorphia kicks in bad and I'm just like,
Yeah. That's a whole nother topic we could just dive into right there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's definitely a whole topic in itself, but I can completely relate there. So I know how you feel about that, and I also feel like when you're dieting from like staying somewhat leaner, and you're not rushing into a show, you're probably gonna have maintain more muscle and stuff, and you're not gonna feel as shitty during the dieting process.
For sure. And it opens up me being able to eat more of the foods that I want. I don't have to be, 95-5 with my clean to shit. I can go more 80-20 right now.
Yeah,
I'll enjoy, like, I eat Pop-Tarts every day. I eat chocolate every night before I go to bed. Like I'm still enjoying the stuff that I want to.
Mhm.
I'm not at this stage where I'm having to eat clean 100% of the time because that's not sustainable.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I guess you follow kind of like an if it fits your macro approach for the most part.
Well, I'm a weird hybrid. I've been doing this for a while as far as like meal prep and things like that. Do I weigh my stuff? Yes. If I'm meal prepping, I weigh my quinoa, my tofu. I'm not as hardcore as some people. I think some people take it over the edge.
Yeah.
And they start weighing their vegetables. They start weighing their salt. They're weighing their, chili pepper, their turmeric. I'm like, why? If you look different, it's not the turmeric and the veggies that are doing the issue for you. Okay.
I never even heard of anyone measuring spices before.
Yes, people legit will measure spices, man, and it's like the veggies and black pepper are not going to be your catalyst for why your weight is not changing or why your body composition is not changing.
Yeah.
So it's really, I'm somewhere in between there. I prep and plan about 80% of my meals. The other 20 right now, I can eat more intuitively. Now, I do have a good understanding of what certain calories and macros and stuff look like. So I have that going for me. But still, like, I'll make pizza. We'll eat burgers. We'll eat Asian food, whatever. We'll throw that stuff in.
Yeah.
I know what kind of macros I still have to work with for the day. I do still advocate clean eating in general. You don't want to eat, if it fits your macros, doesn't mean you eat Doritos and ice cream because it fits your ratios. You can.
Yeah.
You're probably going to feel like shit. You're probably not going to perform at your best that way either. Well, I don't know. What do you do? You stay in really good shape.
Yeah.
Yours?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you where I have been just counting my calories religiously for the past like 6 years. Even when I'm bulking, like cutting, maintaining, whatever, it's just such a habit. I'm sure it's probably the same for you.
Yeah.
It becomes such a second nature thing where it's just like, oh, plop it on a food scale, just measure it out on a pan or whatever and just cook it. Like it's not that hard.
Even when I'm not competing anymore, I will probably still do that just because it's so ingrained and I'm just so used to doing it. And it's also just such a convenience thing too. Like,
yeah,
I don't have time during the week to make all my meals during the middle of the day. It's not feasible.
It's also, it almost feels like once you really are good with, calorie counting and everything, and it's like really like second nature, it almost feels like it's a little cheat code to like, manipulate your body exactly how you want, where everyone's like, oh, I can't lose weight, I can't gain weight, whatever. And you're just like, just fucking cut 200 calories, start with that, or add 200 calories, like get to 500 eventually. You're definitely going to lose or gain weight eventually,
For sure. Yeah. And I find that a lot because I used to do a lot of coaching on the side, and I'd work with people, and, they were like, well, I don't want to have to count calories and do all this. Okay. Then how are you going to know? Like,
Yeah.
But you got to know kind of the baseline. I understand you don't want to count calories forever. I don't think anyone should necessarily have to.
Mhm.
Same time, you got to establish a baseline first.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of go from there to where you can eat more intuitively because you understand more. I mean, if you tell someone, like, let's say peanut butter, for example, you look at a jar of peanut butter and it says one serving is whatever, 190 calories or whatever.
Yeah.
How many people can realistically scoop that and tell me exactly that is one serving?
Mm-hmm.
It could be 100, it could be 300.
Yeah.
You're going to get off. So
that's really funny because one of my buddies, he was like talking about, he went to the doctor because I think some of his blood markers were off, and he was like talking about his diet, and he was like, oh yeah, like I usually, I eat like a serving of peanut butter. And he like goes back to like look at how much he was actually eating, and it was like 5 tablespoons of peanut butter in his smoothie or something.
Like half a jar.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But you don't, like, your average person, they just take like a big, spoonful or something, and they're just like, oh, this is probably one serving. If they never measure it, they have no idea.
Exactly. I could not agree more with that. That's the big thing is when you actually see what, let's say you put a meal together,
Mhm.
This is 600 calories. Now I know what 600 calories of this looks like. And
Yeah.
you know a little better. 600 calories for quinoa and tofu and veggies is going to look a hell of a lot different than 600 calories of peanut butter.
Yes, definitely. And you just never know unless you actually have a basic knowledge of like calorie counting and nutrition.
Yeah.
So it kind of is like a little cheat code, like most people just don't know.
And a lot of people also don't realize that, like in America, for example, you can be off, I think it's 20% on the nutrition labels. So like they can be within a 20% range. So even if you are counting, you're not hitting it accurately 100% of the time. You can get everything absolutely perfect and you're still not going to hit it right on. And that's okay. It's getting in the field, getting in that little range.
Yeah. That's a really good point too, because like no matter how much you try to count something super accurately, this goes back to what you were saying about like why it's pointless to try to count things like, herbs and spices that you add to food. Right. Like it's going to make such a small difference, whereas other things are just going to be off on the nutrition label where you can never get it exactly perfect. But the idea is like get as close as you can, and it's going to be good enough to like drive progress the way you want.
Yep. As long as you're controlling those if you use a bunch of seasonings, make sure you're using that amount of seasonings every week when you do it.
Yeah.
If you use a lot of sodium, use that amount of sodium. As long as you're not adjusting that stuff, you'll have a much better idea.
So what's your I'm trying to think of where to, I guess, to keep sticking with training for a little bit, and we'll touch on like your diet and veganism specifically in a little bit, but to kind of go back to training. So you kind of touched on how you were drawn to more like individualized, individual sports, I guess, like where you're not working with a team, you're kind of more working by yourself. I can definitely relate to that too, because I just never liked working with a team. Like I grew up, I always just hated it. I was kind of drawn to skateboarding and stuff where it's like,
oh, come on. Are you for real?
Yeah. Wait, oh yeah. I saw you post some photos of like you doing a kickflip or something, right?
Yep. I was a old school skater back in the day.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. I think we're about the same age. Are you, you're like 30, 31?
I'm 31. Yeah.
I just turned 30. So we're pretty close. Yeah, I grew up skateboarding, and I always liked that because it's like you progress on your own terms, you do your own thing, you're your own competition. And that's what drew me to weightlifting, which feels like it's probably really similar for you, right?
Right. It's that individual mentality. I'm in control of how much better I get at this, and nobody else is having any kind of factor. People can help you. You can learn more. People can assist you. But at the end of the day, if you're not putting the work in, you're not going to progress. Yeah,
that's what I love about it too. So I thought that was really, I meant to say something earlier, but just looking back, I'm just like, damn, like I can totally relate to that. So when you first got into lifting and stuff, what was how did it differ from now? Because I know you said that you kind of got into more serious programming and stuff recently.
Yeah. So to touch base on like what we said in the beginning, my body dysmorphia really being off back in the day. When I first got into training, it was, I was so undersized that I thought I have to eat all the calories, lift all the weights, try to do everything like balls to the wall, 100% all the way. And in about a year and a half, I went from, I think, somewhere around 160 pounds to 205.
Okay.
And it was not pretty. It was not good weight at all. But my dysmorphia was so messed up at the time that I thought I was 205 pounds and I thought I was still super tiny. And now looking back on those pictures, I look like a damn water buffalo. I look horrible. My face is this big around.
Yeah.
I have no shape. It looks just like Michelin Man everywhere. But my dysmorphia was so off that I couldn't tell. I was drinking these, oh shit, what was I think Optimum Nutrition used to make this mass gainer.
Dude, everything you're saying right now, I feel like you're me, because I literally have done the same exact fucking thing.
Yes.
Like graduating high school, I was 6 foot, about 150 pounds. So yeah, drinking Optimum Nutrition mass gainer shakes, and I was drinking like Russian Bear 6000 or something, which was like just some, another weight gainer thing.
Right.
I relate so hard to this right now.
So weight gainer, it had that scoop in it that was the size of a fucking laundry scoop, and it was like 2 of these.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit! But it was like 1,200 calories in it. Had like 300 grams of carbs, but it was like shitty processed, genetically modified carbs that nothing good for you. You just felt lethargic, but you were like, gotta grow, bro. Gotta get big.
Yeah, and I did the same thing, just dirty bulk like crazy, got fat, and the only way I actually knew eventually was because my friend was like, dude, you're fat.
Yeah. And then you like look at a picture and you're like, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't realize it until like someone says it, or you look at yourself one day and it's like, holy shit, you're right. I look like this.
It hurt at first, and I was like, dude, I'm fat.
Yeah. Well, see, I also had this weird mindset when I first started working out that I was like, my dream weight is like 215. I said, I bet I'll look really good at like 215. And for some reason that was just kind of burned into my brain, was this 215. That's where I'm going to want to look good. That's where I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. I've never been 215 ever. I still don't know what that looks like, but I don't need to be that big. I know that now. If I was 215 like I am now, I'd be too big for myself. I wouldn't want that personally. That's too much.
Yeah, you would just feel kind of like you said, like once you start eating so much, you just start feeling sluggish, and you don't feel good. I mean, honestly, if anyone else saw you and you were 215, you'd probably just look like a ball of muscle at this point, because you already have the muscle. But the thing is, it's more about like how you feel. And if you go into the gym and you feel like shit, I mean, you're not going to train as hard. It makes sense why you wouldn't want to be that way,
Yeah, and I was like, I'm 31. This isn't forever.
Yeah.
I got a kid. I want to be able to play with her. I want to be able to run around and do stuff. There's no point that I need to be that big where I can't even, if I can't reach all the parts of my body anymore, I don't need to be that big.
Yeah, I definitely have the same mentality about that. Like I definitely grew up the same way as you, just having this like, I'm too skinny kind of like voice in the back of my head. And I feel like that doesn't ever really go away. And I think
it gets heightened whenever you start working out.
Yeah. It kind of makes it worse, even though like you kind of know you look better. You're still like, there's still that insecurity there.
Yep. It's a double-edged sword for sure, because you are improving and you can see it, and even in the back of your mind, I look better. I'm stronger. I'm more confident. But then on the flip side, it rears its ugly head every now and then, and you'll just have that flare up of like, I look like ass.
Yeah.
I look tiny, or I have the days where I feel skinny, and then I get home and I look fat. I feel like I look fat. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly. I think we all just go through it, just being involved in this whole, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like fitness game, I guess. I mean, we all just go through it at some point. So going back to like your training specifically, how did you get more into like programming, or like how have your training philosophies kind of changed over the years?
So I've always done kind of a bro split mentality. I used to do like a true bro split, like chest one day, back one day, legs one day, arms one day, shoulders one day. That's just not it's not productive that way. Mm-hmm. I've shifted to where it's more like push-pull leg. That's where I feel more comfortable. I used to do that like 6 times a week. So I would do 2 push, 2 pulls, and 2 legs. But for me, that's just too much.
Yeah.
I'm not able to recover fully from it. It was more detrimental to my progress. And for me, my hard assness, my stubbornness of my head was saying, you got to be in the gym. We got to be able to grow. Let's get in there. And didn't want to take the time to recover like I knew kind of deep down that I need to. So I think it was the pandemic actually kind of brought that to light a little bit. Was, dude, you don't need to be in the gym 6 times a week for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You can rear it down to 4 or 5 and probably progress better. So I turned it down to 4 and progress just kept going. I was doing 1 push, 1 pull, 1 leg. And then my 4th day, I call that my weakness day. I take my body parts that I feel like are lagging and I work on that for the extra time. So for me, it was chest and arms. I feel like my chest is freaking terrible. I feel like my arms are undersized proportionally. So I would always do chest and arms.
Okay.
Now that I'm in prep, I've bumped it up to 5 days. So I do 2 push, 2 pull, and 1 leg because my legs don't need as much work as my upper body does. They stay pretty full. My upper body, I think, is my biggest lag. So I like to hit it twice a week. Are you back in the gym? Are you still home gymming?
Yeah, so I can definitely relate to that in the sense that, so I was working a couple jobs at the same time, let's say from, I think it was like, all through May and a little bit in, what do you call it? Just right before that, I had to kind of just take what I could get because it was just so many hours. So I cut it down. I cut my workouts down to 3 days a week, and I still made. I wouldn't necessarily say I made progress at this point because I've been working out for 11 years now. But I maintained everything, and that was the first time I think I ever worked out consistently for 3 days a week. And I trained kind of a little closer to failure and everything, and used more machines overall just to kind of superset stuff just for the sake of time. But I found that I didn't lose any progress, and I felt strong. I felt good, and I just transitioned back. So I just moved back to Brooklyn finally because I was living kind of in Pennsylvania for a little bit. With family and stuff. And then we moved back to Brooklyn, my girlfriend and I, to get a new place. And I have enough room now for a basement gym. So I got a squat stand and everything. I got a couple barbells. I got a bunch of plates, got a dip rack and everything. So I'm back to training in the basement and I love it. But I kind of took a little bit from, I was training 5 days a week and just going balls to the walls with volume. And I kind of just mix that with how I was working out 3 days a week while I was working double time, and kind of just met in the middle. And I found that it works really well for me. It's just 4 days a week, not working out for 2.5 hours because I'm just insane, just, hour and a half or something. Yeah, it works really good.
That's what a lot of people don't understand is they think that being go is going to adhere and make better results, or, oh, if I do more volume and more sets, that's inherently going to make me grow more.
Yeah.
Really? If you listen to any of the people that know their shit, those people that study, do the scientific journals, those kinds of things. I think for people like us that are more experienced in our training, we've done it for years and years. They say no more than 15 to 20 working sets per week, per body part.
Yeah.
You do the math, you split that over 2, you're doing somewhere between 8 to 10. That's it.
Yeah.
People think I got to go in there on chest day and do 4 sets of bench and 4 sets of incline. And then I got to do, 4 sets of neutral press. And then I got to do 4 sets of cable cross. And then I got to do 4 sets low to high. They're doing all this shit. And I'm like, you're doing more damage than your body can recover from.
Yeah, that does not work.
No, my chest day, my push day, I do 4 sets on dumbbell press. I do 3 sets of incline and I do 3 sets of cables. That's it. That's my chest workout. Yeah. That's all you need. If you're going progressive overload and you are going between 0 to 1 reps in reserve, you're that close to failure, you're going to grow.
Yeah.
You got to push it that way. Don't worry about volume. I got to get 20 to 30 sets. Do 10 sets and make those 10 sets the hardest fucking set you can make them.
Yeah, definitely. Do you follow any sort of I'm assuming you follow like Mike Israetel and stuff like that.
That's exactly who I was thinking about.
Okay, I got that impression. Do you follow like a weekly progression model or anything in terms of like bumping up, lowering RIR and like raising, reps, or lowering reps and raising weight?
Hit or miss. My workouts are basically the same. If I can push weight, I try to do a little progressive overload. I'll try to add 5 pounds or something each week, but I always basically go between 0 and 1 reps in reserve.
Okay.
There, it looked like I'm about to die after every set because it just looks like I'm just going to collapse the weight on me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do that for 4 to 6 weeks for a mesocycle, and then I'll kind of come down because I know that I need to do kind of a deload.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My body can recover for a week. Deloads are hard, man. That's hard. That's the hardest week of it all, is because you feel, all right, I feel good now, I want to push it.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't. So you're doing dumbbell presses with like 50s, and you're like, I really want to just crank it up, and you're like, nope, I don't need to. I can just tone it down.
Yeah.
All right.
I always have mixed feelings about deloads because like they're so nice when you finally get to it. But at the same time, I feel like because I'm so fatigued and like I'm in this weird mental state where even like 50%, 60% of my 1 rep max feels fucking heavy because I don't go in like with caffeine or anything. I go in with like this mentality where like, oh, this is going to be so easy. And then I just start like getting under the barbell and I'm like, damn, this is still like just feels heavier than it should.
You don't stim yourself out?
Not for a deload, do you?
I mean, I'm kind of a caffeine fiend. I don't even know if it does anything for me anymore, to be honest. But I do try to stick more with the natural caffeines. I drink coffee or I drink tea before I work out, but even still, sometimes hit or miss. But yeah, I try to keep everything consistent. Even if it's a deload, try to take the same supplementation and stuff that I take in any given week.
Okay.
There and just hit it a little bit less hard so your body can recover a little bit better.
Yeah, I think my thing is usually I ramp up caffeine over the weeks of a mesocycle, and I get to the deload and I cut out the caffeine and kind of reset usually. And I think resetting the caffeine, like just doing nothing for a little bit, kind of makes me feel like it shocked me a little bit where I'm like, damn, I kind of needed this caffeine mentally.
I think that's actually probably a good idea. I think me pounding caffeine day in and day out, my body's probably too used to it, and I should probably cycle off of it for a little bit.
That's exactly
on me.
That's what I just went through because when I was just talking about when I was working like extra hours, I was just pounding the caffeine because I have to get in the gym at like 5 a.m. some mornings. I get up at 4:30, get in the gym at 5. And I was just loading up on caffeine, like 300 milligrams just to get in the gym. And for me, that was a lot, but I was doing that like way too much, like every day of the week almost.
Yeah, I did that. So I wake up during the week. I wake up at 4:30. I get to the gym by 5:15, 5:30.
Always?
Yeah, well, right now, because I'm on daddy duty with the little one. So I like to get my workout in, come home, so I spend the day with her over the summer. But yeah, I was doing that, and I would have like a coffee with my like oatmeal and stuff that I eat before I work out. Mm-hmm. Then I was drinking those fucking Celsius, and it was so much liquid and it was so much caffeine, but it's not natural caffeine, that I would get there and I'd start warming up on the treadmill and I'd just like kill over. Like I'd be like, okay, my stomach feels like ass. Like,
oh yeah,
get me off. I warm up on the treadmill for like 5 minutes and then I can't walk anymore.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
Yeah, I usually just stick to either coffee, like I don't know, Americanos or something, just espresso.
Bro, we're like twins or something. I don't know. Americanos.
Yeah. I'm getting that vibe too. I'm definitely getting that vibe. But if I don't,
you're in Brooklyn, so I'm also thinking about Champ's Diner now because that stuff is amazing.
If you like Champ's, I think Champ's, disappointingly, in my opinion, has gone down in quality. It sucks because they were so good before, but there's a lot of really good new vegan places too. So if you ever make it back here, I have tons of suggestions for you.
I just remember going there and being like, I mean, obviously Texas doesn't have a lot of them, but yeah, I'm walking down the street near Times Square. I'm like, vegan. All right, let's go. Yeah. Let's hit all these places. Yeah,
that's how I felt like traveling to Berlin, especially like some places overseas or just tons of vegan places. New York's pretty good. I haven't been to Texas yet, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to go there. There's not much vegan food though.
Hit or miss. I mean,
really?
I'm outside Dallas, so it's not terrible. There's a few options. it's still mostly steakhouses and burgers, and it's not as stereotypical of what you think Texas is, but it's also damn sure not in New York.
What about like Austin?
Yeah, it's got a lot more, but Austin's also super known for its barbecue. So you have like a hardcore vegan side of it, and then you have like a hardcore like traditional steak and potatoes people. So
there's probably a good hybrid though, right? Like vegan barbecue somewhere.
There is, and Austin's just a cool area in general. It's just funky compared to everything else too. So it's a cool place to visit if you ever make it here.
Yeah. What was that?
I said if you make it here, I would go to Austin.
Austin.
Dallas is great too, but Austin is probably going to be more of a hot spot for you.
Okay, that's good to know because I do want to go there eventually, but I was obviously trying to get through this whole pandemic stuff, and now I feel like everything's opening up a little bit. There's so many places I want to go to.
I'm with you. After not being able to travel at all for the last basically year and a half, we have like a laundry list of places that are on our to-do list.
Yeah, I think everyone feels the same way. And I know like for me this summer, everyone's trying to make plans like every weekend and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, I don't even know where, like I have to come up with a calendar now. It's crazy. So I kind of want to go back to start kind of touching on diet a little bit, but I'm curious about, so for the last, like, let's say like right now almost, how does your diet change when you get closer to competition? Or how does your training and diet change, I guess, the closer you get to competition?
So the big thing for me is to keep everything as close to consistent as I can. Mm-hmm. I don't want to throw in any type of variables that are unknown. Mm-hmm. So really, if I'm running the same macros and I know I need to cut calories, it's going to come out of my carbs. I try to keep protein and fats basically where they are because I know that I'm going to need those. Carbs are the ones you can kind of fluctuate a little bit more.
Right.
So right now, it's just gradually decreasing carbs slightly as it progresses, but my training style, the same.
Okay.
If you train heavy as fuck throughout the whole thing. If you train more high volume, do that the whole time. Whatever you've been doing, the last thing you want to do is try to switch it up. And some coaches will have you manipulate water, or manipulate sodium, or, they'll try to throw in these different things, or they'll completely switch your macros around. To me, that's just too detrimental. It has too much of a risk factor for me. And when I trained to do my show in 2019, it's natural when you're starting to, lose calories, your body's going to shut down a little bit more. It's going to be harder to push the weights that you were pushing when you're 2,500 to 3,000 calories, when you're closer to that 2,000 calorie range. Mm-hmm. But you still got to try to push it the way that you always have. Mm-hmm. That's just going to be the best thing, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm such a fucking body dysmorphia and try to be an egomaniac that I actually probably lift heavier when I'm on lower calories, just because I know aesthetically I look better doing it. So it's weird. Like I'm still in there with 100-pound dumbbells on chest press, like let's do this, and I'm like on a caloric deficit and I'm have zombie face and all this, and I'm let's do this.
I definitely respect that because I know how hard it can get. I mean, I never dieted to like, I don't know, show levels or anything, I don't think, but I've been fairly lean and I know how, your energy levels can go down, obviously. I mean, you're eating less calories, you're literally fueling yourself less. So it does get way harder to grind those weights out. So mad respect, dude.
It's the caffeine, bro. It's all it is.
I got to keep that in mind next time I go to cut a lot. Just load up some caffeine.
You look like you stay lean basically year round from everything I see. It doesn't look like there's a lot of fluctuation in your body composition.
I think that I feel like I can stay lean fairly easy. But
it's just a natural ectomorphiness from when we're younger. It does help a lot. Yeah.
Like I've compared my calories to some of my other friends who are also actually one of my closest friends is vegan and really into lifting and stuff. And he's jacked. He's jacked as fuck. But his calories are just so much lower than mine. Like for him to maintain, like I maintain it like at this body fat, I probably maintain it like 3,200 calories.
Good Lord, man. That's a lot.
Yeah. Like I'm kind of slowly cutting right now on like 2,800 calories. And I'm like, I think I don't really know what body fat I really am, but I feel pretty lean right now. For me to maintain, it would be like 3,300, but compared to him, his would be like 2,500 or something. And it's just a huge difference. It's weird.
That is a lot. I mean, I'm at I'm usually for maintenance is somewhere between 27 and 2,800 for me.
Okay.
If I get too much more than that, I'm gonna start gaining some fat.
Right. Well, you're like, obviously, to point out, the lower your body fat is, the lower your maintenance calories are going to be too. So if we were up to like 15% body fat or something, our maintenance would probably be way higher too, which I think a lot of people forget that. But yeah, I just feel like I can maintain like a lower body fat fairly easy, and I just like the look of it more. And like we kind of touched on, that like body dysmorphia starts kicking in more, and I just feel like shit mentally if I put on more weight. So even when I'm like 14% body fat, which really is not high at all, it's not high at all.
Yeah, but you're well within a healthy athletic range at 14%. But
yeah, absolutely. But even when I get around there, I'm just like, oh, like I don't like the way this looks. So summer's coming, blah blah. It's not healthy.
I saw those triceps on that deadlift yesterday. Was that yesterday?
I was like, yeah, I think I posted a couple days ago or something.
I was like, he can like I'll take those. Triceps popping on a deadlift, like I don't even know what you're doing.
Dude, I swear to God, it's just because I have a small ass frame. I only weigh 170, I don't know, 76 pounds or something in the morning. Like, I'm just a small guy. It's just an illusion.
How tall are you? 6 foot?
6 feet tall.
You make it look bigger though, like for real. Like 176 at 6 foot, you make it look fucking huge compared to.
Yeah, that's good to hear because like we just talked about. I mean, I have that constant being like, oh, I'm too skinny, But I do like.
I honestly wouldn't have pegged you there. I would have said you were closer to like 190 for real.
That's really good to hear because I feel like I just get the right angles when I'm filming myself. But if I get a different angle with a shirt on, I'll look like I don't lift.
It's the worst. I'm like, can I roll these sleeves up a little bit so you can actually see that there's some. Yeah, I'm with you. That's why I wear the tiny shorts, dude. If I wear shorts that go past my knees, you wouldn't think I have legs at all.
Well, we both have those longer, long guy legs.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm all legs and torso. I am stretched out for sure.
Yeah. How's squatting for you? Do you find I don't know, because you do have longer legs, do you find squatting difficult or anything?
It depends. So I'm not a big barbell squatter.
Okay.
I used to be. I used to really overload and try to do a lot of barbell stuff, but for me, I don't think that my legs respond super well to it.
Okay.
From an overall strength and progression, yeah, barbell's great, but I don't think it's for everyone. I think certain movements are going to be better for certain body styles, and you got to pick the one that's best for you. Just because everyone says you got a barbell squat doesn't mean you got a barbell squat to make your legs grow. Now, if you want to be a fucking power lifter, do a barbell squat, but that's not what I do. So if you see my stuff on Instagram, I don't touch barbell squat. I do goblet squats or hack squats. That's all I do.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Do you feel like when you did barbell squat that you had to be bent over a lot to kind of maintain that center of balance?
I did low bar just because my upper body would naturally dip over, and it was just easier to maintain high bar. Yeah, especially when the weight goes up, because that's just really hard on your abs whenever you're trying to maintain. But
well, especially for taller guys, I would say. I mean, if you're a shorter guy with shorter legs, you're going to stay way more upright with like a low bar squat as opposed to a low bar squat for a guy with like long femurs.
Oh, for sure. And I've never struggled with hitting depth, and that's one thing I'm super hard on is just fucking hit your depth. If you're squatting, squat.
Definitely.
I'm not one to trash people. Like I don't like to dog people that are, because if you're in the gym, we're all in there doing it together. Hats off to you for getting it. But the guys that go in there, put 315 on squat, and then squat where their calf and hamstring are making a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
You're not impressing me, bro. The guy that's in there with 95 pounds on there that's going ass to grass or to 90, thank you. Okay.
Yes. I completely agree. I couldn't agree more, actually.
Like, I just, that's one thing that bothers me is and then you're like, do I help them? Do I not help them? Because you're like, am I the asshole if I go up there and like try to like help them with this? But then if you're not, they're just going to keep doing it. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that, but
dude, I've definitely seen people deadlifting with cat back, and you're like, yo, listen, I'm thinking to myself, I've been there before when I first started deadlifting. Yep. I would want somebody to say something to me when I was doing that, but at the same time, I know that because I'm so hard-headed, I would get like pissed off about it and never change anyways. Yep. So I usually just don't say anything, but I wish I could.
If it's real bad, I'll be like, let me help you out here. But if it, I'm with you. I don't want someone to snap their back in half trying to rip 315 off the floor with their Air Jordans on.
Yeah, it's always someone wearing like running shoes with those crazy soles.
You made your first mistake by wearing those while doing this, but
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a great conversation, but just to pull us back a little bit to the diet stuff. So I'm interested in when you went plant-based / vegan and kind of like what your purposes were and kind of like how you did it. Did you go vegetarian for a little bit? Did you just go cold turkey or right to vegan? And like how did it switch? How did your diet switch in terms of like, what was it before? What was it after? And like, if you were lifting at the same time, did it, was there any difference there?
So, growing up in Texas, it was very traditional Texas, style foods. I don't know about you, but I remember distinctly thinking back on it. And when I look back and reflect on it now, I was like always meant to be plant-based and always meant to be like, I just know based on what I used to eat. Like I remember my mom would make like chicken dumplings when I was a kid and I would like hate the fucking chicken, but I'd love the dumpling, like bring the dumpling on. I never liked milk. I never liked eggs. I just ate them or drank them because I had this mentality of this is what you're supposed to do. And this is how you get strong. We're all brainwashed by the marketing and shit that, and how can you not be when they're pumping millions and millions of dollars into it? But fast forward, I was in college. I was like 19 or something at the time. And I was watching, don't ask me why, but Oprah was on.
Oh yeah.
And they were going into a slaughterhouse. And I remember they were going in the slaughterhouse and they were showing, well, they actually couldn't show how the cows were slaughtered because, that's not good for TV. You can't show that kind of stuff. I just remember thinking, I'm sitting there watching this and I'm petting my dog. And I just kind of made that connection of they're not different. They both have souls. They're both living beings. What's the difference here? So I went vegetarian, like smack dab right there, cold turkey. Let's do this.
And how old were you there? 19. 19. Okay.
Yeah. So I went vegetarian, like straight up. I didn't really fuck with dairy a lot. That's just never really sat well with me. But I was eating eggs and drinking whey protein because you got to have this stuff to grow. I still had mentality. And that's when I was drinking those laundry scoop shakes of fucking mass gainer. Disgusting. Yep. But I kind of knew, even when I first went vegetarian, I was like, one day I will go vegan. I know I will. I know that will be a step for me. But selfishly, I held off on doing it because I thought it would be detrimental to me working out because I had just started working out around the same time that I made the switch.
Right.
I was gaining, I was progressing, but I thought if I take this eggs out or if I take this whey protein out, am I going to lose everything that I've gained so far? And also, to be fair, at the time, early 2010s, protein powder tasted like ass. It was they did not have good options for us back then. Yeah. So I just remember always thinking, I'm going to do this one day, but I selfishly held off on doing it. And then one day, I don't know why, but I just randomly was like, you know what? I don't care. I said, I feel like a hypocrite. Not going to keep living like this. And switched. Boom. Veganism that day. Yeah. Back. And guess what? I haven't lost a thing. Continued progressing. I feel like I'm aligned with my morals. I feel like I'm kind of, I don't want to say breaking stereotypes, but in a way, I'm not a super preachy vegan. I'm not going to shout it from the rooftops. I'm not going to come and condemn you and slap you down if you're eating a burger or whatever. I like to lead by example. I like to, no shit. I knew we were going to have this conversation today. I was at the gym today. Sorry. This girl randomly comes up to me. She goes, can I ask you a question? Yeah, go ahead. She goes, what do you think about the carnivore diet? She goes, I did it and I didn't take a shit for 30 days and I feel like it gave me septic and all that. And then she started talking and I go, yeah, I think it's horrible for you. It's like your body literally wants nothing but carbohydrates. It literally wants glycogen. That's how your brain functions. That's how your organs function. It's what helps power your muscle cells. was like, that is literally all your body wants. And she looked at me, she goes, so you would never do it? I said, I'm vegan. I haven't had meat in 11 years. And she goes, shut the fuck up. They just like looked at me and was like, shut up. Like people still can't make that connection that you can be in good shape and be plant-based at the same time. So I just thought that was really weird. But yeah. For me, I feel like I recover better. I feel like I have less inflammation. I'm obviously having zero cholesterol. That's what another thing people don't realize is that cholesterol is literally only found in animal foods. So blood flow is better. I feel like my vitals are better. My skin is better. You know, my hair didn't make it, but my skin made it.
Yeah.
I had horrible acne and stuff when I was eating like animal-based foods and stuff. And like, no kidding, as soon as I stopped eating it, helped it so much just overnight. And it helps get you, I think, out of a bubble of people always ask me, what do you even eat as a vegan? What do you eat as a carnivore? You or as an omnivore, you eat the same shit every day. You eat chicken and rice or like burgers. You haven't went outside your bubble to try all these thousands of foods that are out there. I've never tried more foods in my life than when I went plant-based and wanted to explore what else was out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what's your experience like? Did you, were you a cold turkey one? Did you vegetarian it first?
Dude, that was a great story. I completely relate to almost everything you said there on my own end, actually. I also I went vegetarian at 20 because I had a class in college where it was a nutrition class, and the teacher was flexitarian, he called himself, but he was like really plant-based, I guess, when it came down to it. He ate like very, very little meat or animal products at all or anything, but you know, he still let himself eat it, I guess, a little bit. He wasn't like an ethical vegan, is what I'm trying to say. Right. So he had us watch like Forks Over Knives and Food Inc. and you know, stuff like that. It was like popular back then. And you know, like watching that, I was like, damn, like I never liked meat really growing up. I literally had my first hamburger in my life when I was 16, and I only ate like 5 of them, and I was like, these are kind of fucking gross, man. Yeah, like besides that, I ate chicken, and that was it. Like seafood disgusted me, pork disgusted me, like all that stuff. I was just like, I don't know why, but I just find this gross. And I thought that I was like weird. Yeah. But all I could eat was like, you know, chicken breast, because eventually I thought I wanted to, you know, get jacked, and I thought you had to eat chicken breast. But then shortly after I went vegetarian, like very shortly after I started lifting. Yeah, I mean, I kind of stayed vegetarian for 4 years because I thought I couldn't go vegan because I was a broke college kid. I was like, oh, you know, I can't go vegan. It's too much money and I don't know what I'm doing. And also that lingering thought in the back of my head was like, well, what if I can't build as much muscle? And I think you can relate to this too, probably. Back then, there was like very few there were virtually no lifters that were vegan, maybe a few that were vegetarian. I think like Bill Pearl, like that jacked bodybuilder from the Olympia bodybuilder. He was one that was like vegetarian, but I was like, I don't see anyone that's vegan that's like jacked. And there was like Vegan Gains back then, but I was like, this guy's not jacked.
No.
Yeah. But there was, when I first went vegan, there was Brian Turner and there was John Venus, who I have mixed opinions about that guy anymore, but that's different stuff.
Because he's done this shit over and over again?
Yeah. He flip-flops all the time. Yeah, I to be completely honest, I fucking hate the dude. But either way, I like Brian Turner a lot. And he like was a big inspiration for me. So I was like, you know, people are doing this, I guess. I just got to do this. Because I knew that, you know, I watched Forks Over Knives and stuff. From a health perspective, I was like, well, why don't I just cut out the dairy, like dairy and the eggs? I don't need it. And then also I was kind of thinking more about like, you know, the ethical reasons, obviously. And I started for the health purposes mainly. I just kind of went cold turkey from vegetarian. Well, not cold turkey. I was vegetarian for 4 years. But yeah, I just kind of overnight was like, I'm just gonna cut it all out and give it a shot. Everything went great. I ran what do you call it? The small log squat routine, which you probably know. Which has insane volume. And my squat went up like 50 pounds or something while being vegan. So I got like stronger than ever. And then for the past 5 years being vegan, I feel like even lifting for as long as I have, I feel like I put on more muscle and like, granted, it's not a ton at this point anymore, but I feel like my body composition's better. And yeah, obviously I'm vegan for the animals more than anything, Alan.
Same. It's all about ethical for me. Like I'm such a softie for that now. Like that was my original intent why I went vegetarian, but then because I didn't make the connection either. When I first went vegetarian, I didn't make okay, well, the milk comes from the cow, so they're cool, right? Like the cow's just chilling, it's giving this milk up. Like, I didn't understand that whole horror side of that story too. And
that's a great point. That was definitely how I viewed it too. I just didn't know.
Yeah, you how are you supposed to know? You're brainwashed kind of in a sense to believe, yeah, it's just they just produce this milk, but what they don't say is there's a reason they produce this milk.
Yeah,
it's for the calf that's not getting it, so you can get it.
And they're impregnated all the time. I mean, those things we just don't know. You're just like, oh, do cows always just give milk even though they're not pregnant? You just don't think about it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, the dairy industry is more fucked up than just the beef industry, because they do the shit to them first, and then as soon as they're too weak to do anything, they fucking send them off to be killed. So it's pretty fucked up. And I'm hardcore ethical now. I am there's a bug in the house, we're going to catch it in a cup and take it outside person. So I'm big time advocate there. But then it's just kind of trickled over in everything else in your life. I lift better, I sleep better, feel like I feel better all around. And the health reasons, like you said, like my dad is I guess 4 or 5 years now remission, but he had cancer, and they said a lot of the reason that he had cancer was because of his diet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they said, it's prostate cancer, which they say basically every man, if you live long enough, you'll get it. But a big contributor to prostate cancer is meat and dairy consumption. Yeah.
And what's actually good, apparently good for prostate cancer in the studies is soy.
Yep, soy, which doesn't give you bitch tits.
Yeah. Say it louder for the people in the back.
If it did, everyone would be eating it if they wanted bigger boobs.
Oh, yeah. Great point. That's a great point.
I'd have this chest that I actually want because I eat plenty of soy. Don't worry.
Yeah, you'd be winning all the shows for your chest alone.
Exactly.
There's one more thing I wanted to touch on for diet before we kind of get into the other stuff, and that is so kind of like what your daily, I don't know, sort of what's like an average day of eating for you, and let's just leave it at that. What's like an average day of eating for you, roughly?
All right, so if it's a training day, wake up, bowl of oatmeal. I do put protein powder because I love proteins.
Yep.
I don't know if I think you had it on your story one time, but the Silk protein.
Yeah.
Have now that's like Yoo-hoo shit.
Is it Silk Ultra?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I put that in there with it, and then I'll cut up some strawberries, blueberries, bananas, throw that in there. Then, like I said, I have a Pop-Tart. That's my breakfast. I go train. When I get home from the gym, I have the same oatmeal again. No Pop-Tart this time. But I have my oatmeal again because I love the carbs, I love protein, and oatmeal is like my jam. I could eat that every day, every meal, and be completely content.
I basically do. I love oatmeal.
It's so freaking good, man. Yeah. So I usually have that, and that'll tie me over kind of until lunch. Lunch turns around, that's my big kind of volume meal in the middle of the day. Quinoa, tofu, veggies all over lettuce and stuff. I usually wouldn't eat as much lettuce and stuff. I'm eating about 12 to 15 heads of lettuce a week right now, just because well, I need the volume. I need to feel full without blowing my calories out of the water. So I'm eating these big grassy almost salads that just happen to have quinoa and tofu on it. But quite a bit of quinoa, quite a bit of tofu, and that's my lunch. And that leaves me full for probably 3 or 4 hours. I feel pretty good on that for a bit. If I get hungry, I might have like a protein shake, just a snack, just something to tie me over. And then dinner, I make something for my wife and I. And like I said, that could be burritos, enchiladas. We could go Asian. We can go tacos. We can do burgers, whatever. I kind of, I try to pack more calories into the end of my day to help me tie over while I'm sleeping. That's kind of how I've always been, whether I'm training for a show or not. I'm pretty good in the morning. I used to do intermittent fasting. I would fast until about 1 PM and then just kind of pack all my calories in between 1 to 9 and tie over until then. I find now eating super late in the evening makes me feel like crap and I don't sleep as well. So I try to basically stop eating at 7, give my body a few hours to digest and everything before I go to bed. A lot of people don't realize that. If your body's digesting, like you eat something right before bed and then go to sleep, your body's digesting and you're not sleeping to recover as well because your body's having to digest. Keep that in mind, people. But yeah, that's basically my in and out right there, is just having oatmeal, quinoa tofu, maybe a protein shake, and whatever I want for dinner. Now, as the show approaches, I'll probably have that same quinoa tofu meal again at dinner, and I'll just kind of adjust the macros on it to where it fits what I need. And a lot of people come at me and they're like, aren't you sick of eating the same thing? Or don't you get bored with that or whatever?
Yeah.
And my answer to that is no. One, I eat food that I like. I love oatmeal. It's amazing. I can eat, like I said, I could eat it every meal if I wanted to. Quinoa and tofu, amazing. And two, I more eat for performance than anything.
Yeah.
People always talk about, and I'm not against, there's absolutely times where I eat food because it tastes good and I want to eat it. For me, it's not worth it if it's not helping me train. It's not helping me perform. I don't want to mess with it, really. I'd rather eat the food that my body's more used to, because I know how my body's going to react to it. I do that 6 days a week. Right now, Sundays are my refeed day. I bumped carbs and fat up a little bit today. I don't eat on plan. I kind of eat intuitively today and eat what I want. Had oatmeal this morning. I had a burger for lunch. I had rice and tempeh and stuff earlier, and I'll probably have something again before bed tonight. And I just kind of eat more intuitively today. Let my metabolism have a break from what I usually eat, and it kind of kickstarts it again. Have a little bit more calories and kind of lights the fire again, and then I go back on my plan tomorrow.
Yeah, I think refeeds are a great approach for a diet. I mean, I think everyone that's trying to get really lean should always do refeeds pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you do them every week, or do you do them like every couple weeks?
I do them every week.
Every week.
I'm sure Jeff Nippard, I'm sure you know him. So he actually did a video on it recently talking about kind of the refeed mentality and which diet approach is better. And the refeed, he actually said there was science that backed it up. Unfortunately, it said it takes somewhere between 36 and 48 hours to truly have a glycogen refeed.
Right.
For me, it really starts Saturday night. I'll actually throw in some extra carbs and fat. And then Sunday is my true refeed all the way through. And then Monday I get back on plan. And I feel really good doing that.
But you basically do 2 back-to-back days?
Yeah, but it's more like a half day Saturday and then a full day Sunday.
Gotcha.
And Sunday is my one day that I train legs. So it's nice for me to have those extra calories because I can really push it since I'm only hitting legs that one day.
Right.
I timed that up as well. But refeeds are great if you know what you're doing. Now, it's not an uncontrollable eat whatever the hell you want. If it's in front of me, eat it, blow out and do an extra 2,000 calories thing. Strategic with it, you can actually, you'll wake up on, like I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll be leaner than I was when I woke up this morning. Because
it's just holding more carbs, like pushing out your muscles against your skin more and everything.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It gives you a little break.
What was that?
I said, and it gives you that little break, which is always nice.
Yeah, I mean, even just for the sake of your mental state, I mean, it helps a ton.
For sure.
Okay, so I really wanted to touch a little bit on like the whole toxic veganism thing that we wanted to talk about. And I know that we're kind of like pressing a little bit here. I feel like it was just so fun talking about all the lifting and diet stuff as usual.
For sure.
But I love the idea of just talking about like toxic veganism and everything, and like kind of your thoughts on the vegan community in general, and like what could be improved, and like what is kind of the problem.
Yeah, let's hit it real quick and talk about it, because it's something that needs to be there. And it's, again, I don't want to trash anyone in particular, but there are definitely those social media-ites that are advantageously taking veganism and using it to further their platform. I know you said John Venus earlier because you really like him.
I love him. Fucking love the guy.
But I mean, no, in the beginning, he had a very good platform. He was coming out, he was speaking, he was advocating for veganism. It was great. And he kind of led by example. He showed some of the foods he ate. He was training really well. He had a great physique, whatever.
Yeah.
He flipped the switch or whatever, and he started shitting on it hardcore.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was like, for me, it kind of just rubbed me the wrong way, because it's like, if you choose to make that choice, fine. That's your decision as a person. But you've made all this money and you've advocated for it for so long, because I remember they were like not explaining why. He and his wife were not explaining why, and it's like, you have a platform and you have this audience. I think you at least owe them an explanation of why you chose not to be this anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone kind of dumped on him, and then it was like, oh, I'm back. Don't worry, veganism is great. Plant-based diet is fantastic.
Yeah, and you really have to question that and be like, well, is this guy serious? Like, is he legit, or is he just doing this because he lost all of his clientele?
Right. I don't want to make that, because I'd like to see the best in people or think the best of them, and maybe he just saw the light and realized, hey, I screwed up when I said that stuff a while ago.
Yeah.
Is also, are you doing this for profit or what? What's your motive? It's shitty to think that someone has to have a motive, but I mean, that's kind of where we're at with social media. A lot of the stuff is, there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely say that it's definitely not just like a vegan issue. It's like social media in general. But there's a lot of like just shitty people that come out and seem like they try to exploit the movement just for trying to gain personal clout, like these vegan lifters and stuff. There's definitely a few I can think of off the top of my head that they just play off the whole vegan thing, and it just feels like it's really inauthentic. It's like they're not really vegan. They're just doing it because they realize it's like this niche, and like a niche is like a great way to build a community. It just doesn't feel legit at all.
I agree. And I don't want to, again, if you're coming over to you and you take on veganism and you realize, wow, I could have been living this way, and I like this particular diet and I like this lifestyle, I'm great. I'm fully support it.
Yeah.
That, we talked about this. We bullshit about it all the time. The people that post like still not protein deficient or vegan and still alive. And then like you look back on some of their older posts and they've been vegan for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Like 9 months. It's like, dude, like
sometimes not even.
Sometimes I love it. I love that you're advocating for it, but like some of us have been doing it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And no offense to them, but I feel like we're a better representation of what it is because we've been doing it. We've been in the hall of it.
Yeah. I mean, you always hear the argument being like, oh, well, yeah, you can maintain your muscle on a vegan diet, but you can't like build muscle, or like, what about the people like, no one's vegan longer than like 2 years or something. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of us that have been vegan for way longer than a couple years, and we built muscle still, things like that. It's like, I don't know, that always kind of annoys me when they say that, when there's so many people who have been vegan now, who've been vegan for so long, but maybe we just don't talk about it as much because it's just like our lifestyle.
Yeah, that's what I feel. That's my thing is I never want to shove my beliefs down your throat. If nobody ever, I was talking about this with my wife the other day. Nobody ever got bullied into going vegan. Nobody ever. I never came to someone and said, "Hey, you're eating meat. You're a piece of shit. Do you know that came from an animal? Some animal had to die for you to do that." And they said, "You know what? You're right. I'm switching now."
I feel like that's a vegan gains approach.
Like it's never happened.
Yeah.
You're never going to bully someone into it. The better representation is to say, hey man, you got a really good frame. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. Oh no, man, I'm just, eating plants and kicking ass. I don't know. What's the time? Wait, what? Yeah, dude, I haven't had meat in years. Do you want to talk about it? Like that to me is a much better approach than shoving it in your face.
Yeah, I definitely think leading by example is also what I'm trying to go for. I'm also the same way. I don't like shoving it in people's faces. I don't like really arguing that much in general. Like I don't like trying to go up to somebody and like argue again with them. If they bring it up with me, like I'm more than happy to talk about it. But if I can tell they're trying to talk to me just to fucking argue and like they're not trying to listen, like I'm not gonna waste my time on it. It just I'll joke around, like I'll mess around with them, and then I'll just try to get out of the conversation, because you just know if someone's like actually wanting to learn or if they're just trying to look for a fight.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you just have to try to expose people to it more, and it's definitely getting easier to do it as time progresses.
Yeah,
my parents, for example, we were there yesterday, and we were eating. They made hot dogs. They made like real hot dogs for them or whatever. Oh. And pig anus and eyeballs and ligaments and all that.
Yeah.
And we had like the Light Life soy-based ones. I was like, Mom, just try it. Just see what she ate. It goes, tastes like a hot dog. And yeah, it doesn't have any dead animal. You could literally eat this as a good option. And guess what? It's probably healthier too.
Yeah.
It's not fatty. It's got not saying every vegan food is like healthy, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's definitely a better option
Mhm.
all around. But no, the fitness side of the toxic veganism thing is, I love it and I hate it. It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
And there's some people that, do you follow the I don't want to name drop, but the vegan community page?
No, yeah. They post a bunch of shit.
They do. And they post people, and I'm like, not the best representation.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about right off the bat. And I forget the dude's name, but it's like Julian something. I can't fucking stand that guy. He's literally one of the reasons why I'm just like, dude, this feels like somebody who's not authentic at all, just looking for clout. And I can't get down with that, man. I don't know.
That's who I was thinking of when I was talking about someone that had been for like a year.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I do it.
But the not protein deficient, or ask me how I do this on plants, and
yeah. I see. So I go on the vegan fitness subreddit sometimes. I don't know if you're on Reddit at all. But
I don't do it too much. Only if I need to deep dive into something, I will. But
yeah. I usually just scroll through there for like news and stuff on some Reddits and like others, just to kind of see what's going on. But I occasionally look on that Reddit subreddit, and it's always like people posting photos of themselves, and it was always just like, protein, not protein deficient, haha, I'm not fucking dead from lack of B12 yet. And it's like, all right, cool. I've heard this joke so many damn times now. Like,
yep.
But you know what's messed up at the same time? There's so many people out there who still think that, these are legit concerns. Like, your average person probably does think that people who are vegan can't get enough protein.
Yep.
So I do kind of get it. But at the same time, if you're posting to a vegan community, like, we've heard that joke so many damn times.
No, this is a true story. I can't even make this up. I had to walk away. But I work with a lady that literally, like, I guess showed her husband a picture of me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, and like, this guy's vegan. And he asked, she was like, yeah, he asked me, where does he get his protein? Which we've all heard, whatever. Yeah. And her answer was literally, I guess he just doesn't get any. Like, she was really curious. Like, she literally thought animal protein that's it. That's the only way.
Yeah.
All be all. And I'm like,
well, that kind of backs up what I was just saying. Like, when I kind of just go out and talk to random people, like, I work on set a lot, and we eat lunch together. A lot of times they're like, oh, like, you look like you lift weights, like, you're vegan though, where do you get your protein from? And you can tell when they're being legit, like, kind of goes back to what I was saying again. And if they're being legit, I'm more than happy to discuss with them, be like, I eat like tofu, I eat seitan, I eat protein powder, beans, and I'm happy to go over it. But, like, I don't know, at the same time, it still kind of shocks me, where it's like, all right, it's because we hear this all the time though, where we think about it and we're like, oh, everyone must know this by now, right? It's still, I guess your average person.
You have to know that broccoli has protein, right? Like, or that cow had to get that protein from somewhere, right?
That's what we think. But like, these people really don't know. They think vegetables have zero protein all the time. And I mean, they're not like powerhouses of protein necessarily, but like, when do you count your veggie protein? Because that shit adds up.
Actually, I don't. I don't, but I know that there's obviously a good amount there.
I count it, and I'm like, because I eat like upwards of like sometimes even like 8 to 10 servings of just veggies a day, and that adds up sometimes. Like 25 grams protein or something.
Yeah, that does. I mean, like I said, I don't, but I give myself kind of a protein window,
right?
Somewhere between like 140 to 200 grams. If I'm within that range, I feel fine.
Yeah,
I don't need more. I definitely don't need less, but
yeah, I used to obsess over protein for sure. And I kind of got to a point where I'm like, I'm not super concerned about it. Like, me weighing about 180 pounds, give or take, if I get like 140 grams, I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah, it's really what it is. Of the 3 macros, I would say it's probably the least important. Like, if you're eating enough calories for your body, you're going to get enough protein.
Yeah.
The general, but the other ones are what you need to worry about.
Yeah. That's a good point, because I also do feel like I undereat fat. Like, if I don't pay attention, I'm most likely to actually undereat fat.
That's how I am too, because my coach that I worked with my first show was like, if you eat a bunch of fat, you'll spill. She said you would spill over and you'd look lumpy.
Yeah,
it's not true. Especially when you get really lean. If you eat a bunch of carbs, it makes you look like you see the muscle definition, like it starts popping, but you don't look as full. If you don't have fat in your system, fat is what makes you look more dense. So you got to have the two together. Otherwise, it's not going to look super good. And you're risking hormone deficiencies and hormone imbalances.
Yeah, great point.
So
that's a great point. Yeah, because you can't absorb some vitamins or mineral, or I guess just vitamins without a certain amount of fat.
Yep, for sure. So for us, anything less than like probably 20%. For women, probably 25 to 30. You got to have it somewhere in that.
Exactly. So your split's like 50, 25, 25 or something? 50,
yeah,
30.
Somewhere around there. Protein would be my least. So yeah, it's probably 50 carb, 22 protein. What's that? 38 or 28 fat or something like that.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty much same thing. All right, man. Yeah. So let's where can I guess let's kind of just wrap it up here, because I know it's getting to be like a little over an hour now, and I want to be respectful of your time and everything. So where can people find you on social media?
So Instagram is really the only social media platform I use. It's at Sir Lance a whole lot. That's my handle on there. You can find me. You can track me down. I basically post like food, workouts, stuff with my wife, and stuff with my kid, and that's it. If you're really interested in keeping up with me, I post stupid stuff, post gym stuff. Usually it has like death metal or something blaring on the background of it, but that's me.
I like it, man. And you're gonna post competition updates and stuff, I guess?
Yeah, so I guess now that I'm getting closer, I'm trying to be more on top of it. Trying to decide. I know a lot of people will do like a blackout the last like 2 or 3 days where they don't post any physique updates, so that way it's like a grand surprise whenever you actually. I haven't decided if I want to do that or not. I am super stoked to do it though, man. I'm like super pumped and amped up for this show. I did not feel really confident in the first one, so I'm really, really pumped up to do this one. Like,
yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, from my point of view, you definitely improved your physique a lot, and you should be proud of that. And yeah, you're gonna bring like a fucking awesome package to the stage. It's gonna be great.
And then I'm gonna be like, y'all all got beat by this plant-based dude. I don't know what y'all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, I always say we need more people to like be, representing, eating plant-based, being vegan. I mean, the more people who do it, the more people are gonna find out that it's a legit lifestyle, and you're not gonna just wither up away and become like a skinny twig. It's good for yourself, good for the planet, good for the animals. It's good for everything.
Yep. Sounds good, brother. Well, if you and the lady ever make it down to Texas, let us know.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, right back at you. If you guys come to New York, we'll take you to a good vegan spot.
I mean, I'm down. I went to New York. We went a couple years ago after my first show, and that's where I pigged out and went to some Broadway shows and enjoyed it. But we'll definitely make it back out there. I like New York. I like it to visit. I don't know if I'd ever want to live there, but
understandable. It's definitely not for everybody. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the recording here. So yeah, if you guys listen to this the whole way through, first of all, thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So Lance, thank you so much, man. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, and yeah, talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Aethix Approach podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, it would mean a ton if you gave the podcast a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, RadioPublic, PocketCasts, Stitcher, PlayerFM, PineCast, or any other service you're listening to, and subscribe to Aethix Fitness YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook page. Feel free to check out the articles, training and nutrition programs, and merch on aethixfitness.com. And if you like what I'm making, dropping a like, commenting, and sharing would really, really help me out. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.